webinar. All right, cool. Now that we have settled this as well, let's finally start into the interview. So, Santi, I think first of all, everyone is really curious to hear more about your business. What is your business all about? How did it all get started? Really curious to hear.
So I'll tell you the quick story. Back 2016, we were in our college dorms. I was studying for computer science, which is a very popular track today. And we were hunched over our computers in the library until like 2, 3, 4 a.m. And it used to be like back pain was a problem that the older population would have. But as we become more sedentary and we sit in our chairs for longer, the body's actually not used to not moving for so long. So we started to get a lot of back pain. And it was surprising to 19, 20-year-olds like us to see like why are we getting so much pain? So we started playing around and doing some research, like very basic, going on Google, trying to find out what was driving this pain. And the key thing is poor posture and not moving. So if we could improve our posture while we were sitting, hopefully we could help that problem. So we literally went on Amazon, bought everything that remotely resembled back pain and started to play around with products and got it like super prototype like, cutting and buying materials and trying to make a better version, a combination of everything else that worked because we wanted to avoid any intrusive surgery or anything that was very, very medical. And we took a very data-driven approach. So we were trying to see what products were out there, but also what were the people buying those products saying. So Amazon is a great platform because all the reviews are open, public. You don't need any special tool to look at them. You can literally just go and select the different ratings and walk through them. So that gave us some indication of how to make our first product. I'll make this very, very long story short because that was like a whole like a few years of journey. But we made one product that ended up being 2, 3, 4 different products: pillows, braces, cushions, all around orthopedics, better posture, and back pain, initially to solve our issue. But we later saw our friends were coming to us and saying, "Hey, can I have that product while you go on vacation and holiday?" Dartmouth is one of those colleges that has like 4 terms, and you only have to take 3. So the people are staggering. So when we had like a term off, people would go and say, "Hey, can I use the cushion this term while you're off?" So we said, "Okay, there might be a commercialness to this." So anyway, we convinced the manufacturers that we were a big company out of Boston and we wanted to do a sample run, and we ordered the first like few hundred products, and then the inevitable place to take it was Amazon FBA. We'll talk about FBA later on, but it was the only place where you could do 1 or 2 day shipping while still being 2 college kids in our dorm. So we sent it to Amazon FBA, and to our very pleasant surprise, we like sold out in 4 days. We had 100 units. The first 25 sold out in the first day. It was like 25, 25, 25, 25. We're done. So anyway, this is a very long story, but that was the fast forward. We're now a brand of 26 different SKUs, selling in US, Germany, UK, France, Italy, Spain, and we sell, like you said, 3 to 5,000 products a day. Doing nothing differently to what we're doing when we're back in college. Just the numbers are higher.
No, very, very, very insightful and cool, and very nice story from having a need to yourself to realizing others have this need as well to finally finding a solution for it. So very cool, and we're definitely getting more into detail on how you actually did that, or what is your suggestion on how to do that later on. So you decided, as you just said, to sell the products on Amazon. And my next question would be, why did you choose to focus on Amazon and not any other channel?
Yeah, so if you think about like what makes a good product successful, or what makes a successful product, there's 2 things. There's one, to have a good product, but 2, to distribute it. Because you can have the best product, but if you're just sitting at home and you're the only one who uses it, other people can benefit from it. And the thing about distribution is it is quite a big problem. Like, how do you get a product to a people's house or home across a wide nation like the US? It takes us 5 hours to go plane coast to coast, or to Europe or to Germany, to France, with different regulations. Like, how do you do that if you're like sitting in a vacuum? It's quite a hard thing to do, especially within a day. What Amazon has accomplished is to level the playing field, where anyone can just go in, open an account, send the products to their warehouse, and they'll leverage other people's products, put it in big ships and big trucks, and move it around the US or Europe or UK, and then ensure that 1 or 2 day delivery. So like that's the first solving point that Amazon was for us, and we still think it's unique to FBA today. And the second thing is that they have the eyeballs, because even if you have the ability to deliver in 1 or 2 days, if nobody knows about your product, then nobody's going to buy it. So Amazon has all these people that are going, that trust Amazon, going to Amazon every single day. What you have to do is prove that your product is better than the other one and then the alternative, and Amazon will immediately realize that, because they always want to put the best product forward, and then they'll start ranking you up over time and showing you the eyeball. So Amazon covers, you have to put the best product, and Amazon does the distribution and the eyeballs, which are the two hardest things other than having a great product.
Cool. So is there any other channel that you are fulfilling in now, or is Amazon still the only one?
So you would think that such big brands fulfill everywhere. We're exclusively to Amazon, and not because we have an agreement or anything. We've just seen how Amazon is becoming the go-to platform for e-commerce in general, and e-commerce, we think it's going to be the future of how people shop. So we've been just core believers in the platform and try to focus on the platform. So one thing that like, I always tell this story, like back when we were in Austin, there was a big venture capitalist group. They do a lot of retail products, and they were spending hours and hours with specialists that made, 7 figures per meeting, trying to optimize the product, because if you actually do like the optimal curvature in the product, it biases people to grab it with the right hand versus the left hand on retail. And we were like, wow, these people are hyper optimizing for a specific distribution channel, which is retail. If we do the same thing for Amazon and over obsess, not just with the type of customer that shops on Amazon, but also with everything physical around it. How do we make the product fit the Amazon box better? We could be the best at. But that requires focus. That requires you to sit down and be like, I'm going to be the best at this. So that's why we made the decision, even today, being such a big brand, to focus solely on Amazon.
Okay, got it. Thank you for the insight, Santi. And my next question would be, like, I was also an account manager before and was supporting brand owners with their start on Amazon. And one of the most asked question was always, okay, when I start now, what should I focus on? What should I really prioritize in the beginning? What can I maybe neglect? So from your opinion, Santi, is there anything you could tell brand owners what to focus on in the beginning?
Yeah, the first thing, so big believer in focus in general. So like the high level rule for us is how can you focus more? So how can you delete things that don't matter? So the first thing I'll say is pick only one product, right? Until you don't get that one product right, don't focus on 5, 6, because otherwise you're going to be spreading yourself too thin. The second thing is, and it's only the most boring advice I ever give, but it's honestly the best one, is like focus on making the best product. Sit down and say, why is this one better than that one? And best product is also inclusive of price. If you have a better product, but it's 5 times as expensive, the ratio of value price is not the best. And people are value shoppers. So like, why is this one better than the one next to it? And how's the pricing relate to that? That's the first thing. Until you cannot solve that variable, it doesn't matter how long you spend on the other 20 things in it, it's just not going to work. So spend time yourself with your family and people that you don't know, thinking, how can I pick, like, why would I pick this one over this one? Like, that would be like the first thing that I would do. Once you have a really, really good product, I would then focus in getting involved with Amazon with a brand registry, because it's not good if you're putting all this effort and then you don't own the brand and the customers that you're generating. So Amazon is doing a lot of movements towards protecting the brand, registering the brand. So like the easy steps are register the brand. It used to be very, very hard. You have to wait like 4 or 5 months for trademarks to come back so you'd be able to register. Now there's IP Accelerator. You can get it within like a few weeks, even once the trademarks have not come back yet. And Amazon will protect that brand in the meantime, which is a huge move for us. And we're like, I wish it were that easy back then. And then once you have that protected, is then now focus on advertising to get the initial few sales. So nobody knows that the product is there. Amazon's not going to rank you just because you've created a new product. You need to start advertising initially to get eyeballs to your product and see how people react. But take that as a learning experience, right? If people are not buying, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Is an opportunity to learn why they're not buying. What are they clicking on? Why like when are they skipping the page? If you change the colors, would they buy it more or not? If you change the features, would they buy more? So start tweaking the product to the point that you start seeing when you advertise the product, people get to the product and actually end up, going through the purchase and end up buying. The buying is the best data point you have because you know then that sequence works. And that's also like tweak the keywords that you're targeting, right? Like you might say I'm selling vitamin C, but vitamin C can mean many things. It can mean the tablet that you're taking as a supplement. It can mean a candy that has vitamin C. It could also mean a skincare serum that has vitamin C. So it's like try to tweak the keywords to make it as specific to what you're making and as long tail as you can to get that core customer that is exactly for you. And then once you do that and you get the data, then it starts to scale it. Amazon will immediately recognize that because they always want to show the most innovative, the best product. So once they see a match of customer product, they'll start ranking you up in that keyword and start showing you the other keywords automatically, and the rest will be taken care of. So it almost happens magically once you achieve that.
Okay, cool. These were many, many insights and many interesting things you said. So let's roll it up a little bit. You said like product is really key, and you did also some market research with your close ones. So that's interesting to see as well. And you were talking about brand registry. And since we have seen that so many people listening right now have not registered their brand already, can you maybe explain the audience a little bit why should you register your brand, and why should you also register it with Amazon Brand Registry? So what are the benefits of this?
So there's countless benefits. There's a lot of insights you can get once you have a brand registry. Amazon treats you like a solid established brand when you do that. So Nike, even if you're Nike, you get the same treatment once you're registered because Amazon sees you as a legitimate brand. The other benefits that you get is that you get to sell your own product. Right? So Amazon is an open marketplace and an open platform where a lot of people can sell other products. But when you register, you control that experience all the way through. So your product can only be sold by you or people that you give the permission to. And those are key things in controlling the experience, especially those early days when the product is in its infancy and it doesn't have an established reputation. You really want to control that experience all the way through.
Absolutely. Thank you, Santi. And maybe I also make a note on this IP Accelerator program that we have. You talked about this in the beginning as well. So basically, for everyone who hasn't registered a brand yet, also not officially have a trademark at an official trademark office, you can basically sign in for this program at Amazon, and then Amazon connects you as the selling partner with an IP law firm, and that IP law firm basically registers the trademark for you. And since we are cooperating with those law firms, you can get access to like brand tools and also protection tools prior to the trademark being officially registered. So this saves you lots of time. This is also what Santi mentioned in the beginning, like for them it took lots of time apparently, while this can really speed up the process. So definitely have a look at this. This just as a side note. So yeah, and you also said many other interesting things about experimenting and things like that, but I think I will take this up in another question from myself later on, and also about advertising. This was also one of the frequently asked questions that were pre-submitted, so let's talk about this later on. And we're coming to the next question, which is about product detail pages. So when we think about the general product detail page, where the products are shown to Amazon customers, in your opinion, how important is the content and also the design of this product detail page for brand owners?
It's the most important, right? So I always like to make the reference to like how did people sell products 10, 20 years ago? And you would walk into a store, you would have somebody that's highly trained on the product, and they would walk you through the benefits of this product. They'd be like, this is the best cream for aging. This is the best cream for this other thing, right? And it's an experience where you have maybe like 2, 3, 4 minutes of communication with somebody that's trying to explain you the benefits and you as an audience of that product. Online completely changed that. So when people used to go and watch films for 2 hours, now people watch TikToks for 10 minutes, so for 10 seconds, right? So it's like people's attention span has gone way, way, way down. And the way of shopping has also gone way, way down. So actually the first point of interaction with your customer is that main image. And that's a split-second interaction. They're going to see 10 main images and they're going to have to pick one or the other. So I always talk about your product needs to be better, but it needs to be perceivably better, because you can have a water that tastes better, but it's really hard to demonstrate that taste on Amazon. There's actually ways to do it. But so it's not just that it needs to be better, but you need to be able to demonstrate it in that initial main image. And we hyper obsess over that main image. We're constantly testing. Amazon has an A/B testing tool where you can upload two different images. Obviously needs to be the same product, but it can be like different angles, different color saturations. One is bigger, one is smaller, one has text, one doesn't have text, right? And then Amazon shuffles that randomly with different customers, and then it tells you which one is converting better, has a higher click-through rate. So we hyper obsess on that. We have a queue of different tests all the time that are ready to go in and test something else, because it's never good enough. You always have to improve. And it's also changing as other people change their colors. Like I would say Amazon changed slightly their search bar color theme, so our colors change slightly over time. So the first thing is that main image. That's your first interaction. It's no longer 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes in the store. It's split-second decision. If the person clicks, and that the key metric to track there is click-through rate, CTR, if the person clicks, now you have a few more seconds of their attention. They'll probably spend, at the very least 3, 4 seconds, and maybe even a minute or two in your listing. So this is equivalent to engaging the conversation with the store person. There you want to be concise and focus on the benefits, not as much on the features. So I think a lot of the ways that entrepreneurial minds are wired is like, I'm better because I have A, B, and C. And having A, B, and C is great. That's what makes you better. But the customer doesn't really care about that. They want to know why this is make their lives better. It's the benefit to the customer, right? So like a classic idea that I always say is like a feature is this car has 5,000 horsepower. A benefit is this car will get you there quicker, so you'll save time and spend more time with your family. That's the benefit of the horsepower. The horsepower itself is meaningless. So focus on those benefits and try to stay as concise and as clear as you can. And focus on the benefits that people care about. So spend time reading other product reviews. It is a very manual process and human process. Like go through all the reviews that other people are writing. What are they complaining about and what are they highlighting? That's what people care about. Don't write the features that you care about, write the features that your customer cares about. There's also the ability to do brand stories and A+ listings, or if you have the brand registry. So that's also a huge benefit of brand registry, where you can tell a whole story more visually in this listing. Spending time on that is also invaluable. It's what makes the difference between, because like I said, you can have a better product, which you should have before you even start doing all of this, but you have to now demonstrate it to the person in that 1 minute. And another thing that we always do is we print out the A+ listing and we create another one. Then actually go out and show it to people without letting them know which one's my product or my listing. We're like, which one did you pick and why? And then you start getting into the psychology of how people are making their decision, and then you try to gear towards the reasons why they would pick yours over another one. It's very fun. I'll say that. Like it's a very fun experience to do so, and it's even more fun when you start doing it at scale and you have many products. But you have to focus on that first product before you can replicate it over and over. Well,
Yeah,
finally,
so
one thing I'll
it's
say is also
yeah,
video.
yeah, sure.
Video has become extremely powerful. So because you only have those 10 seconds, video is an amazing way to condense that down, that information in the first 5 to 10 seconds. And I also say focus on the first 2 to 3 seconds of your video. How are you hooking up the attention of the customer so that they immediately get hooked in that video, and then spend time watching and try to understand why your product is better than the one next to you.
Thank you, Santi. Very insightful things you are saying. I really like the point on focus on the benefits people care about. I think that's very valuable for the audience. And maybe to add some information to what you were just saying as well, like the tool that Santi was talking about where you can do the A/B testing is called Manage Your Experiments. You can also find it in Seller Central in case you haven't seen already. So you should definitely try this out. And he was also talking in the last point now about the option to add a video to your listing. And this is also possible for brand owners who have a registered brand and also registered it with the Amazon brand registry. Then you can do that, and it makes a lot of sense to drive the conversion.
One thing I'll mention is like this is like a good example of leveling the playing field. I think like one main feeling that I had when I was in college is there's no way I can compete with the big brands of the world. Like it's impossible. They're huge. They have so much budget. They have marketing experts, and like if you think about like there's gating hurdles that prevent smaller guys, I mean, we started very small, but like we were in college, with competing with those big brands. Like for example, distribution and 1 day delivery. That was something that like you have to be selling billions of dollars a year in order to be able to accomplish that in a cost effective way. Amazon gives you that. The pricing that you receive is the same pricing that any big box retailer is receiving on FBA. FBA is standard pricing for every single person. I've yet to see anyone who's gone in discount, right? So A/B testing is another clear example of that. Back in the day, to do A/B testing, you needed an engineer, you needed a whole team behind it, and they could create a code in a website that you could shuffle and then try to statistically determine which listing is better. Then the tools came around. So when I started, there were tools out there, but you had to do them yourself. We were going as far as having to upload and upload and upload new listings all the time and see which one would perform better. Because the thing about A/B testing is you have to shuffle it really fast in order to control for external variables. So that was still like a very manual process, but at least the tools were out there, but it required like, a very computer science type brain. Now it's like Amazon creates a tool. All you do is you upload the 2 images. That's it. So it's almost like, oh, it's so much easier. Like the brand registry also so much easier. So Amazon is in this constant process of removing those variables, which makes the little seller, the guy that's starting today, have the same tools and the same opportunities that any big box, conglomerate can have. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out because the A plus, the A/B testing is a key gating to be able to compete with a hyper optimized product.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for the example. I think that was very helpful. So we see a high quality product detail page is really key for every brand owner or for everyone selling on Amazon. So you have mentioned many points already, but are there also any like particular best practices you could give like that really work well from your experience?
Yes. So like I would say test everything. Is everything Everyone thinks that there's a best practice until you test it and then you realize what you didn't think worked. But there's directional guidance that I always give. It's like try to go in that direction, but always verify with the test. Because ultimately the customer decides, we are not who decides. And that's the key difference between e-commerce and Amazon and the rest of the commerce world. The rest of the commerce world, they get a group of 20 people and they say, I think you're a customer. What do you think? And that's it. Here, the customer decides by how they click, the click-through rate, with how they buy, with how long they spend on the listing, and ultimately which product they pick. So it's like test everything. The test is the ultimate deciding factor. But the general direction is try to focus on getting the best images you can. And you can go photographer if you can pay for a photographer or a 3D render, do it. It's very worthwhile. If you can't, there's ways around it. Even on Amazon, you can buy like photograph boxes that help you put products in the middle and you can take pictures of them. But focus and hyper obsess on that main image, the number one, the one that it's the split second. Because if it's not a good one, even if you have an amazing bullet point A plus, they'll never get there. So you need to get that initial attention to even get an opportunity with the rest. The next thing is I think a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs like we get really excited about their product, so they write a lot of text. They want to put text in the images. They want to put massive bullet points, just text, because they want to show. It's like when you go to a dinner conversation and there's an entrepreneur because they spend all the time talking about their product and they won't shut up. So we bring that on to like our listings, and sometimes that can be counterproductive because of this thing that they only have the first 10 seconds. So it's like can you say the same in the least amount of text, and try to not put text on images as much as you can, right? Like in certain scenarios it is helpful, but try to test with less rather than more. I always say it's better to do less and then maybe add a little bit than to have too much. Same thing with the bullet points. We try to limit them to 150 to 200 characters. And then the last thing is contrast, right? It's like people say like red is the best color. No, it's not. Like it's the best color when contrasted with what? So there's two things you're contrasting against. One is the background, which is Amazon's background. That's usually constant. They've only changed the color scheme significantly once when it was used to be very white and now it's like dark bluish. So when that happened, you say, try to test a new color. Which color would stand out a little bit more? And the second thing is your other products, your other competitors. Look, if everyone has a green product, maybe if you choose a red product, that would stand out a little bit more, or a blue product, right? So contrasting colors in the design is really important to grab the customer's attention. Yeah, I would say like, so to summarize, like really short, easy to read bullet points, very little text in the images, hyper obsessed on the quality of those images, and try to use contrasting colors.
Exactly. And testing everything, and yeah, always verify it with a test.
Always test. Never stop testing.
All right. Okay, so we talked about a lot about product detail pages now. I think we are sorted on that point, but another very, very important point and question we always get is regarding how to best manage inventory and also how to best manage the logistics, because at Amazon there are different ways. You can ship the products on your own, you can use fulfillment by Amazon. You have talked about this when introducing to your company already, so I guess you're using fulfillment by Amazon, but yeah, feel free to tell again, why did you decide to ship with Amazon, and how are you handling your inventory?
So when you ship with Amazon, it's like you are part of a multi-hundred-billion-dollar company, right? Like they're leveraging every single product from every single seller on Amazon and putting them in hyper optimized facilities and trucks that get to move it around the world. So if you had to send one tiny, tiny product like this one, right, from here in New York to Florida, it would cost you $500 to do so. 600. I mean, if you had to just buy a truck to send it, right? So what Amazon does is they put this tiny product with another 20,000 tiny products in a truck, and then they move that to Florida, and they happen to have a truck going out to Florida every single like hour because they have so many products. So they're leveraging an efficiency level that's unprecedented. There's nothing else out there that has the operational size of Amazon FBA as a fulfillment service. So, and what they do is they pass along that saving and that hyper low cost to the customer because like it's in their benefit for the platform. So we've even met with companies that are doing billions of dollars in revenue, and they've tried to run McKinsey consultants, the best of the world, to try to find out if there's a way that we can at least match FBA pricing. It just doesn't even get close. And the second thing is that you have a consistent experience for your customer. So those early days is very critical that the customers have an amazing experience, because those are going to become your raving fans. So all it takes is one or two late products, and that's what makes the difference between a bad review, somebody disliking your product, and that can be catastrophic. So is with FBA, you have a consistent experience. They take on the responsibility if it ever happens to be late, but it's never late, and like it's a guarantee at a really 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 low cost. And the last thing I'll say is, from a cash flow perspective, it's the only service that you pay as you sell, and actually nets it towards the fee. So often, like if you would, if you'd have to run your own warehouse, you'd have to buy your boxes up front, your racks up front, then pay UPS up front, before you even charge the customer. So in the early days, that becomes really, really expensive because you don't have a lot of capital. So that might be the difference between ordering another 100 units. FBA just nets it all directly from the platform, and you just get the net proceeds, which to the financially minded people, that makes it, cash flow neutral, which is very, very hard in physical products businesses. So those things made it an inevitable decision. In fact, if you were to make sales on your website, you can also hook it up. A lot of the main providers like Shopify hook up with Amazon FBA. You can actually even fulfill on your website if you were to use FBA. So it even has that option. Most people think that FBA is 100% connected and only connected to Amazon. It's not. So you can leverage one single big operation, serve your Amazon customer, and also serve your outside customers if you're to have some. Even manually, by the way, if somebody like sends you a message, you can send a product to this location and get the Prime delivery. Obviously, the last one is you get the Prime, right? The Prime badge. A lot of the customers today have become used to Prime. I personally don't buy anything that's not Prime because I'm already pampered by Amazon, and if it doesn't arrive in 2 days, I don't want it. So like having that Prime badge is extremely valuable for your conversion. Again, necessary to get that initial click so that people then discover your product, so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Prime badge is really not only beneficial for the customer, but also for the selling partners. And maybe again, to those who are very new to all of this fulfillment by Amazon topic, Amazon does not only pack and ship the products, it also handles all the returns and does the customer service in all the languages. So that is really a big bonus as well.
I was gonna add, Yana, that in Europe it's even more powerful because what you have in Europe is you have 5, 6 different countries, all of which have great customers. But if you were to create a supply chain that covers that many countries, like you need to be a huge company. And just you send it to one country, they don't even require you to send it to other countries. So say like you're a seller based in Germany or seller based in Spain, you only send it to the warehouses in that specific country, and then they'll take care of the rest and move it around at no charge to you. You'll pay the same fee. Say like you make a sale in Italy and you're located in Spain, you'll pay the same fee if you're registered in pan-European as if you would send the product in Italy and sold it in Italy. So it's a huge logistical advantage where you can immediately become a multinational company with a single click by even sending 10 units if that's all you have. So in Europe and in the US, they also have cross fulfillment to Canada and Mexico to cover those two marketplaces. Just Europe is one of the examples, but they're present everywhere, and that helped us a lot early on to reach customers across the world.
Absolutely. And also here, a quick note to the audience. So if this is a topic that is very interesting to you, you should definitely join our third session we are hosting mid of March, which will be all about global expansion for brands. So we will dive a little bit deeper in topics like that, fulfillment by Amazon, Penny U, and so on, global selling, and more. Cool. All right. Jumping right into the next question. So we have talked about so many interesting topics already. We have covered brand registry, having high quality detail pages. We have talked about logistics now. So selling partners might think now, or the audience might think now, okay, it's really a lot I need to do and need to think of. So how much time does it actually take? So how long does it take for me to get started to sell, and how long does it also take to be successful? And I know this is now a very, very tricky question that is probably not easy to answer, but maybe from your experience, you can have like a rough, roughly say what it is.
Yeah, so it actually separate the two. Getting started is one thing, and then reaching quote success is a separate, completely different thing. The getting started is you should get started as quickly as you can. I had a mentor back in the day who told me if you're not slightly ashamed of your first product, you launched it way too late. So another thing that they teach you in computer science is like there's a lean startup approach is don't spend all this time making the best app. Just launch it, even if it's kind of wonky, and then see how the users behave and develop in the directions that users want. What are they spending time on? What are they interested in? Rather than what you think they'll want, because you'll actually be surprised once you do so. So I would say the same thing with physical products. Just launch it, do it quickly. You set yourself to a way higher standard than the rest of the world sets yourself, and even if it's not perfect, you can always improve. That's not going to be so. Our pillow today is on version 14. It's completely different than the pillow we had back in the day. The other day I was actually moving places and I actually found one of the old ones and I was like, I would not use this today. Like mine, the new one is so much better. So always keep that in mind. Look, it's not a permanent decision. It's just the first few units. You'll get to learn and then you get to improve over time. So just get started. It's like the just do it tagline is one of my favorite taglines. Now from there to success, it's completely like so much can happen. We've seen overnight success where you get lucky and you happen to have made a really, really good product that was needed, and then within a few weeks you start selling. And then sometimes you have to try 3, 4, 5, 6 times, right? You know, our backpin product, like we the first few were not that great and it did not sell. What I'll tell you is once it gets started, because of the digital exposure of Amazon, once they recognize that this is a product market fit, the scalability is just limitless. Like it goes from ordering 100 units to now ordering 100,000 units, and it feels the same way. You still like go and call the manufacturer, and Amazon, you see the same numbers. They just have a couple more zeros next to it. The scalability is there. Whereas in the typical business, that would drive everyone crazy. You'd have to get warehouses, but it's for Amazon, it's all digital. So what I would say is be patient and be always curious and inquisitive. Like try to see if it's not working, that's a data point. It's always information. Failure is always an information. Like, why is it not working? And what does it take for me to get it to work? And focus. Like, I think the key thing is people they launch 5 products because they have 5 great ideas, and then all 5 fail because they will fail at the very beginning. And then because you're spread so thin, it becomes extremely frustrating you're like, oh, nothing works, I suck, I don't want to do this anymore. Right? It's like, no, focus on one. It's not going to work, but eventually you get it right. Once you get it right, the second, third, fourth is going to be so much easier to the point that you'll be launching 50 new products at a time, and it's going to be very easy.
All right. Yeah, cool. So very interesting insights. Start as quickly as you can, launch your product, focus. You said scalability is limitless. And also I liked your point on that failure is always an information. So, and actually this is also very much in line with how Amazon also thinks as a company, and that it's always day one and that you should just go and do it and yeah, learn from it. Cool. So in the end, we see like time to success and also time to start is highly individual and really depending on a number of factors. So my last question would be to you, Santi, before we start into answering one or two of the questions from selling partners, is what would be your absolute top tips to give to brand owners?
I mean, like back to the basics, the most boring ones is like focus on the best product, hyper obsessed on it. You will fail, learn over time, get the new data point, and get it to be a great product. That's like it's if you had to focus on only one thing, just do that. If you don't do anything else, it'll work. Um, the next thing is like the other like just general tips I always give is like once you start seeing some success or like getting there'll be ways that you like tactics that you can feel that can cut you corners and get you quick results. Those things are very short-minded. They never work in the long run. Like Amazon, the algorithm, like there's always all this talk about like the A9 algorithm or this thing. It's like you must know something that I don't know. I truly don't. Like I just focus on trying to make the best product and try to display it the best way, and things will work. So try to focus on that long-term, sustainable, I would say like economic basic advantage of making a better product at a better price rather than the tactics and the short-term type of gains. Like that's number one thing. Um, Amazon Amazon is always working to give you the best tools. Amazon has data points across thousands and thousands of sellers, and they're always trying to work to give the next tool that's going to help you get that success. So, like for example, the managed experience, what I call A/B testing, is one of the key examples. So always stay in the loop with what they're doing because that's generally how they're seeing other people succeed, and they're trying to bring that tool to everyone else. So take advantage of that and see the hint that they're trying to give you. It's like all the hints are within Amazon. I always say that. But yeah, like if I had to summarize it, product is everything. Try to make the best product offering and display it the best way, and everything else is noise.
Right. Thank you. These were nice words to end the main session, but I'm not done with you yet, not done with picking your brain yet, because now we still have a little bit of time to go through one of the questions that were pre-submitted prior to the session. So when I looked through all the kinds of questions that were submitted, many questions were around how can I increase brand awareness, especially in the beginning, as it is so hard, and so what can I do with advertising? What should I focus on? And considering that it can also, be cost intensive. So, what is your opinion on this?
So advertising is so obviously increase our brand awareness is through advertising, and Amazon has all the tools internally. I'll talk a little bit about each one. The first thing to understand about advertising is that it's a multiplication game. So what does that mean? Like your ultimate purchase is going to be two multiplications, like very simple multiplications. Out of every person that searches this keyword, how many click on your product? That's called click-through rate or CTR. And out of every person that clicks your listing, how many end up buying? That's called conversion rate or session to purchase ratio, right? Like, so session is defined as one user visiting your listing, even if they visited a couple times, just counted as one. So those two numbers multiplied brings you the impression or like the amount of people that looked at your keyword and saw your product to purchase conversion. So like, for example, if 10% of the people that look up Nike shoe uh, click on your Nike shoe, for lack of a better word, right? Or your headphones. Let's call it headphones. Like if 10% of the people that looked at headphones clicked on your headphones, and then out of that 10% bought, your flow through rate is 1% all the way through. So the reason why I mentioned that is if your product is not a good fit, if your product is not a better offering as compared to the rest of the products, it doesn't. You can spend $1 million in advertising and you'll still get zero sales, right? Because you're gonna have like less than 1% click through rate, and you're gonna have less than 1% conversion rate. That's 0.001% flow through rate. So you have to spend 10,000 users to maybe get one sale, right? And there's no way that that's going to be economically viable. So I always say, don't even turn on the fire until you know that the product is a good offering. Don't even bother. Like, you're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna lose a lot of money. Once you get that done, like once you start seeing that, okay, this is a good offering compared to the rest, people are going to click mine over the next one, slowly turn up the dial, right? It used to be that doing ads on Amazon was really, really hard because you had to be very mathematical back then. All the automated tools right now are very, very good. They'll get you 90% of the way there. Like the last 10% optimization, sure, you can get very technical and spend hours on it, but just by running the auto campaign of pay-per-click, headline ads, and product display ads, which are all in the sponsored product section, will get you 90% of the way there. But dial it up slowly and start seeing how the customers react, how many people are buying. Once you see that ratio of how much I'm spending here, how much I'm getting on this side is good, then you can dial it up. But what's going to happen, that flow through is never going to be perfect. So get some customers through and then start tinkering. Sometimes people think, oh, I need to do 10 times more ads. Actually, no. What you need to do is increase your conversion from 2% to 20%. That gives you 10 times more sales with zero money up front. So focus on that. Tinker with the very little data that you have. But once it works, the scalability, again, theme to Amazon. Once it works, the scalability is limitless. You can go from spending $1 a day to spending $100,000 a day, and you get the same. You get the same output if the ratio stayed the same. Then the other thing, the last thing I'll mention in terms of brand awareness, new tool called DSP. So one of the biggest challenges on Amazon early on was if you would get a customer on Amazon, they would look at your listing, they would fall in love with your brand, but then they would leave Amazon and forget about it. There was no way for you to reach them because you couldn't target that customer with ads off platform. DSP, which I always forget what it stands for, allows you to do that through ads within Amazon, and that's a product that's going to become extremely relevant as we go. But that's like stage two. First, focus on your customers that are in the platform. They're the easiest to target. That is like, how do we reach the customers that are outside of that platform that like your product?
Okay, and so you were talking now about sponsored products, basically, that you can use
Correct.
to target your products. Does that also include sponsored brands where you can specifically focus also on sponsoring your brand? Okay, so both are important. And what, maybe a follow-up question on that, just to see what is your opinion on participating in deals and deal events and so on, as Amazon has so many different options in a year to participate?
It works. It works really well. It works really well. Obviously, you have to be strategic about it. What's the best day to run it? What's the best day? And it also has to do with your brand. Some brands are better for deals. Some brands are not as good for deals. It used to be that online retail was like, you could see a product that was saying, oh, retail price 100, Amazon price or online price $5. It's no longer like that. Like, the deals need to be historically lower price because the customers need to truly believe in it. Now, so it's become harder for you to actually get the discount in the sense that you need to do a real discount. But the good thing is the customers are now believing in it a lot more because they know it's a really good deal. So it does help pump up initially and motivate the customer base in strategic points in time. But again, all those things only work if you have a good flow through rate from display all the way to conversion. Although deals help convert because people know they're getting a better price deal. The answer is absolutely yes.
Okay, cool. So considering the time, we already were talking longer than expected. So thank you, Santi, again for joining this call, joining the first session.
Thank you, Lana.
So yeah, and thank you all also for joining. As said before, today in 2 weeks, we are hosting the second session. And in March, we'll be hosting the third session, again, together with Santi. In the next session, we will be talking about brand growth on Amazon. So we will go more into detail than we did today. It will be about growing your brand through new product development and also through increasing sales of your current portfolio. And in the third session, as already said, we're going to talk all about global expansion. So this can be very interesting for you. And again, here, my colleague Carolina will share again the registration links in case you haven't registered for this yet. Feel free to do so. And I'm already looking forward to it. And again, the note, I've said it already in the beginning for those who haven't heard it yet. If you want to have more brand owner related educational content, just go to Seller Central, go to the Performance tab, click on Seller University. There you can find content on building your brand, on advertising your brand, and on protecting your brand, and many other topics related to selling on Amazon, also like FBA, advertising, and so on. Okay, so that's about it. I'm really looking forward to the next session and see you there.
Thank you, Jana. Looking forward.
Bye bye.